Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm finally getting to this tractor. I traded on this from one of my subscribers. Today is March 13th, Monday. So I just got home. It's about, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in that neighborhood. So we're going to get started on this. I have not really looked it over. I looked at it a little when I bought it, but not since. The fuel shutoff's kind of seen better days. Have to put one of those in there. There's a chain link. Not sure why that's in here. Tank's pretty clean and dry. Looks like it has maybe a little in the bottom of it. Fuel. So we're good there. Don't even need to bother taking that off. Let's check the engine oil. Fairly full, fairly clean. We'll be able to start it on that, no problem. It is hydraulic lift. We'll have to pull that and check in there real quick. Let's see what's behind door number 1, except for pressure. It's got something in there. Can't tell how far down it is. Let me grab something to stick in there. Let's try this screwdriver. Wow, there's not much in there, and it's ATF, so definitely going to have to top that off. I'll just end up changing it as normal, but it will work okay temporarily to get this thing running. Everything looks good. All the vitals look decent. If I remember correctly, he said this did run and he had problems with something. I can't remember what. But doesn't have gas in it, so the carb should be good. And I do not think that the key switch is any good. No, should be sparking. And it isn't. So I did bring out a new key switch. We'll have to throw that in it. It has the original seat in pretty good shape. Has some bar tires. Obviously it has this front bucket on it. Has a front lift linkage. Does have the grill and the headlight bezel. You see the airbox is missing here, but it is in here. It came with it, along with the battery hold down in there. That is a weight ballast box for the back. So, yeah, this is a 1968 110 hydraulic lift. And this is a bucketeer front bucket. That's all the information I've found on it so far. If anybody knows anything about it, feel free to let me know. But I've already got some jobs I want to do with this. So we need to get it running so as I can use it. So I am going to put you guys somewhere where you can hopefully see. And we're going to switch out the key switch and see if we can get this thing fired up. Okay, so evidently all the 8-horse Kohler tractors were a solid state ignition. That's what this is. All the 110s I've ever owned with 8-horse Kohlers have been solid state ignition. So apparently that's the way Deere did it. They had their head up their ass or something, I don't know. But this key switch will not work. This key switch is junk. So since it does not need power to have spark, I am going to see if I can reach some wires down in to the solenoid here or something and jump the solenoid and see if I have spark. If I don't have spark, I'm just going to rewire it and do what we did on the patio and put a 12-volt ignition coil on it and be done with it, because I really hate the solid states. So I'm going to see about getting into that to see what I can do, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, all I need to do is hook this side of this doohickey up to some current and make sure it's in neutral. It has spark. Not much of it, but it has some. Alright. So that makes my job a little easier. I guess I will buy a new one of these key switches and I'll be back at it at a later date. I might as well just do that. So I'll be back in probably a week when I get my key switch. Alright guys, today's the 16th. I'm not going to be doing, well, much of anything today. I've been sick for a few days. We've got the COVID. And so I've been out here tinkering around a little bit. We got a bunch of tractors moved around yesterday. And I'm looking for a key switch for this tractor, because it is the 4-prong and not the 5-prong, and it is for solid state ignition. John Deere says it's obsolete. The few places that I think that I found it, it's $60 to $80 for the key switch. So I'm going to keep hunting around for a few days till I feel better, and we are going to potentially end up just switching this thing over to 12-volt ignition coil and rewiring it, because I'm not going to pay $60 for a key switch. So I'm going to hunt around and see if I can find anything that'll work, and I'll bring you back when I find something. Alright y'all, I put a new key switch in. Still nothing. So I'm tinkering around in here and I don't have power to the key switch. This wire appears to be broken. So I'm going to pull the battery box out and see what I can find out. I'm not going to film it because, you know, I'm sure that's definitely not exciting for you guys. So I'm going to do it real quick and I'll bring you back. Alright guys, I've been troubleshooting and tracking wires for the last hour. Put a new key switch in it. It was the wrong one, so I had to file this hole open just a little bit. And the nub is on the wrong side. So the key switch is sideways, but whatever. I guess that's what happens when you shop at Stoller Lawn and Garden. I ended up rewiring. Simple 3 wires. This is for the start. Here's the power. And this one is the ground to kill the thing. I had that off because I was probing. Got that all hooked up, and I had constant ground power through the whole wire all the time when the battery was hooked up to the negative. From the key switch, I traced it. I had it here also, so I unplugged it. I had it on both sides then. And I unplugged from the key switch and cleaned things up, put it back together, and then I didn't have it on this side of this, but right here I still had negative power, which then goes behind the flywheel. So I traced around, and there was a connector up here. Well, you see that little screw laying down there was just holding these 3 together. What I found out was the condenser's not doing anything wrong. And this here is the wire that goes to here. So all this does is run behind the flywheel to ground out at the points, evidently. And the points have constant ground. I tried turning the engine over and I still had ground. So the points are junk and need replaced. So now I need to replace the points and condenser, which ought to be interesting with the front scoop on here. So I'm going to try and get in there and replace that. And at some point I'll put a new fuel shut off in, because obviously that one's seen better days. And then we should be back in business. Everything should be good except the charging system. They had the ammeter bypassed. This wire here they had to the accessory of the key switch, which was correct, but they had it running directly from the voltage regulator right here in the middle. And this wire here should go to here, which gives you a read, and then from this post should then go to your key switch. So they had this bypassed, so I'm guessing it doesn't work. I do have more. I can put one in if I need. Maybe I can just clean it up. We'll see what happens. I want to get it running first and make sure the other wiring's working. I'm sure that watching me trace wires would be super exciting for you guys, but yeah. I also see that I need to order another key switch. I forgot the choke arm was broke off. So I'll just order a new carburetor and be done with it. I'm not a big fan of the Chinese ones, but I'll get over it. So I need to replace the points and condenser, put a new fuel shutoff in, put the battery tray back in, new carburetor, and we should be ready to run. The gas tank's already nice and clean inside, so I'm not concerned there. But I'm going to get points and condenser, and I will bring you guys back. Alright, y'all. I'm going to try to do this to where you guys can see. Alright guys, it's the 4th. I keep forgetting to film. Right now it's not as if there's a good spot I can film from. I'm trying to put a new elbow in here since the other one was broke. I took this loose, and now I'm going to have to take the hydraulic pump loose. I just wanted to give you an update. I put the new carburetor on yesterday. That was interesting. But I don't think there's really a good way to film this, so I'm just not going to. Once I get this put back together, I will bring you back and we'll see what we can do though. Guys, I got all this off and everything's covered in oil. So, well, it's all apart. I'm just going to go ahead and pull the head off and make sure that the head gasket isn't blown. If it's not, I'll clean everything up and probably reuse that head gasket depending on how good it is. But head gasket for this is only 10 bucks, so I'm going to pull this head off and see what I find. Alright guys, moment of truth. See if we're blown. Well, we're definitely oily. You see oil on the surfaces. Not sure if we're blown out. It doesn't look like we are. Doesn't look bad. Don't know if you guys can tell. Head looks like it was surfaced at one point. It's still fairly clean. It's not too bad. Head gasket doesn't look blown or anything. Looks decent. I think I'll just reuse this gasket. It looks fairly new. I think I am going to get a wire wheel or a wire brush or something and clean this surface up and see what I find. Alright guys, I think I completely forgot to show you the inside of the engine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't, didn't have a new piston, but it was fairly clean. I've been trying not to touch my phone too much because, well, it's way better on camera. My hands are almost black. I keep washing them and can't get all the oil off, so I'm trying to be careful and not get my phone too oily. I am put back together and we're ready to fire it up, or try anyway. I haven't even put gas to the carb yet, so we do need to double check the oil. It's good to start it on. I changed the oil in the hydraulics while it was off. Now I'm going to hook up the battery and we're going to see if this thing will fire up and run. So I'm going to put you guys in the stand and see what we can do. Alright, so nothing thus far. Put the checker on here. See if we have spark. We do not have spark. What the heck? Alright, so the last thing y'all saw was no spark. This dumb thing has a ground under the flywheels. Screwing something up. I have not decided yet if I want to just switch it over to battery ignition or if I want to pop the flywheel off and see what I find underneath of the flywheel. So I think I'm going to pull this cover here and see how easy it is to get the flywheel off. I sprayed down the nut in the flywheel the other day to see if it would come off easier, so let's get started. Hey y'all, welcome back. I know it's only been a second for you, but it's now May 21st for me. It's been quite a while since I've worked on this. I've had quite a bit of trouble getting a new stator for this thing. I finally got one. The first one I ordered was apparently damaged in shipping and returned to the seller. And they just, instead of sending me another one, refunded it. So I had to find another one. Finally found another one. So we can finally get around to this thing. If I can get it open with one hand. Get me a screwdriver here. Sucker didn't want to come out, dang. And these come with a voltage regulator, a 200 series one, which I need on my 214, so that works out perfect because I do not need it on this tractor. Let's see what we got. Package, well, looks decent quality. Look at that. Brand freaking new stator. So, we're just going to switch this thing over to electric ignition. I brought out the correct key switch and new coil also. So I need to get rid of that key switch, switch that over. As you saw, we've already done the fuel system. We've already put points and condenser on the tractor. So this should be fairly simple. Do some wiring and it should be a running tractor. So I'm going to stop yapping and we're going to get right down to it. Alright guys, this became such a clusterfuck I didn't even record it. The new stator wouldn't fit the flywheel. Flywheel's different. So I used the old stator and just got rid of all the solid state garbage off it. Everything's all wired up and ready to go.
except for the points and condenser. I need to run a wire directly to the coil. But as of right now, I don't have a good spot to put the coil. So I'm going to put this on hold for now. This tractor is really getting irritating. I'm thinking about just selling the tractor and putting the loader on something different, because this tractor has been a pain in my ass since I got it. So I'm going to see if I can find a spot for the coil. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. Alright guys, I apologize. I started working on this thing and completely forgot to film. But I did get the coil mounted and wired up. So this tractor should be ready to run. Again, I apologize. I got like most of the way through it and realized that I wasn't filming. So I just finished wiring it up real quick. But it should run. So let's throw some gas to it, which I think we already did, if I remember right. Yeah, we already threw some gas to it. What's it smell like? Ooh, even smells decent. Okay, so let's throw the battery back in here and see if she fire up. Ready? This tractor has been in this shop for months. Been working on other things, waiting for parts, all kinds of stuff. I have all kinds of excuses as to why this tractor hadn't run. But now it finally runs. So I'm going to put the points cover back on and the air filter and see if I can still use some light that's outside and tinker around with it. So I'll bring you back once that stuff's put back on. Alright guys, we're back out here. Got that thing on the back, the weight box. Wake up, clutch. I don't think we'll have enough traction, but I'm going to try and get some sand scooped up over here. I need to get this sand toted over to the garden. Teeth on it. Burns some oil too. Not much, but a little. But there's a big hump right here and then quite the hole. Let's try creeper here. Does pretty good in loose dirt. With some more traction I could dig too, but I don't have enough traction to dig yet. This bucket's got enough play in the linkage too that if I just set it on the ground, it won't do what it needs to. To go higher in the air too. It's not dumping everything out. definitely needs an alignment. This tire's straight. This one's not so straight. Hard to tell on camera. Alright, it's getting dark. I'm gonna put it away. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching. I know this one was a long time in the making. I've had this tractor for months and it's still not perfect. I need to do a few more things before it will be. That's it for this video. If you want to see more videos like this, and hopefully not as long and drawn out, but like this, or see me using this in the daylight, it's getting pretty dark out now, but if you want to see me using that, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Tells me and YouTube that I'm doing a good job. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.